By the end of my speech, I want my audience to understand that alcohol abuse has an everlasting effect on your body. Alcohol may seem to be considered a liquid courage for most, but in fact it's considered a depressant and very harmful for your body. In today's society, we've developed a dependency for alcohol and everything that comes associated with it. This trend that we've set with alcohol is growing at an escalating rate that I doubt we can ever control or calm down. In fact, alcohol is the leading cause of death in the military. Well, if you sit and think about that, you know, you got the military members deploying downrange in stressful situations and unsuitable environments, but yet one of the leading causes of death is alcohol. Wow, that just throttles me. The facts are simple. You take out much needed nutrients and replace them with substances that we don't even produce on our own accord. Disaster begins to happen. Hello, my name is Stephen Green, and I want to take a minute of your time to inform you on the social habits that we may have. The facts of alcohol, let's talk about those for a minute. We've all been in a situation where we've had a social drink, or in the club scene or a restaurant or what have you, and we take a sip of alcohol, or we're consuming alcohol, and things begin to happen. We begin to speak freely, loosen up, the environment looks more pleasurable for us to be around, and with just that much more of excitement and joy with alcohol in our systems. Well, when this begins to happen, that's when the ethanol contained in the alcohol reaches the receptors of your brain and the vectors where pleasure seeking and happiness fulfillment begins to arouse and create each other. Yes, we have those in our bodies, back of our cortexes, that are pleasure seeking enzymes and must have happiness enzymes. And with scientific studies that we play mind tricks on our body and don't even realize it. We can take a glass at the end of a long day, place it towards our mouth and not even taking a sip, and our body language changes. That's a fact. Try it if you don't believe me. Now, one thing that I mentioned earlier, liquid courage. We all have had it, where we start to say things that we're thinking that normally we wouldn't be able to even think about saying towards our loved ones or those that we may work with or what have you. But once we begin to drink, all hell breaks loose, right? Now, with that factors of the alcohol and the dependency that we start to form with it, let's get into the effects to the body. Now, I have a visual aid here that I want to show you and point out some key factors for you. Hopefully you can see. But at the top, it starts talking about brain damage and the addiction of alcohol. That's one factor or one organ that we cannot go without. Then we get into blurred vision, then speech impediment, and a bleeding throat from the enzymes of the alcohol from mass consumption. You could possibly stop breathing. I don't know about you, but anything that can stop me from breathing is something we don't need to deal with. Then you get into the irregular heartbeats, and we come on down to stomach ulcers. That's when the lining of your stomach breaks down and begins to bleed. It can no longer take the enzymes that you naturally produce, and it starts eating away at itself. Then you got liver failure. One of the filters of the body breaks down. I wonder where that waste goes. You have muscle weakness, and then you have intestinal cancer. A lot of serious harm happens to the body with all this drinking. But last but not least, there's one thing on here called impotency, and that's for the guys. Impotency, as you all well know, God, you can no longer function as a man. So you might want to think about that when you're drinking. Something that you can drink can not only hinder your mind and your lungs and your heart, can completely destroy your manhood. Now, I'm not a sexist or a pro favor for guys, but to speaking to my men in the world, you got to understand, we drink more. How can we be men if we take away our own manhood? Think about that. Now, Let's talk about the results of last night with this drinking. Did you know that 0.03 to 0.12 is when you become impaired and your vision's blurry and you start to see things a little sideways, as we put it sometimes. Then you get to a level that you slow down and your processing stops, and then you're just standing like a bump on a log because your attention span is completely went away. Then there's one level called the stupor level, and that's 0.25 to 0.40. Do you know that half the people that reach this level die? That's when you reach a stage of unconsciousness, and you could possibly have alcohol poison, and you could possibly sleep and not wake up, because half the people do not make it out of that stage of stupor from 0.25 to 0.4% of blood alcohol content. That is a lot of alcohol. Now, with some of the results that I talked about and the stages that you can reach from last night, let's talk about the benefits. One benefit that I know of not drinking is the money that you put into drinking, you can put into something else. Retirement fund, child's college savings, that new car you wanted, that new album or CD or whatever fetish you may have that you collect. You can put more into that instead of killing yourself. Cost effective. Do you know that one stay overnight at the hospital can be anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 because of the tests that they have to run on you because of alcohol-related illnesses? Not to mention the dependency disorder that you can establish from alcohol. So why not quit? The benefits truly outweigh the costs. Now, in conclusion, I've talked to you about the mind games that set through the receptors of alcohol and how your mind grows a dependency towards it. Then I talked to you about the internal organs and how they can be damaged through the ethanol contained in alcohol. And wrapping it up, I talked to you about the benefits of not drinking alcohol and how much life can be better without that in your life. Now that you have these facts, make the right choice. Thank you for your time.